All right, before we get started, reach down there and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything. Anyways, I'm Richard from Small Caliber Arms Review, and many times people have asked me where I've got some of my hats from. And this is the Outlaw Josey Wales hat, my version of it anyways. This is the Man with No Name hat, little hat band, the whole thing, bullet holes and the whole 9 yards. This is the Pale Rider hat. It is the preacher's hat. And all of them started out just like this. Just a cattleman's crease is what it's called. Just your standard cowboy hat you'll see in some of the stores like Boot Barn or Tractor Supply, stuff like that. It's just the standard cattleman's crease cowboy hat. They all started the same way. And what I've done is steamed them and reshaped them. And I'm going to take this one and try to do the proper hat for the character in 3:10 to Yuma, the one played by Ben Foster, and that would be Charlie Prince. He had just kind of a wide brim, telescoping top, I guess you'd call it, similar to the top on the Man with No Name hat. And really, hats are really expensive if you buy the ones like this. The companies that make these hats, they are a lot of money. These, you can pick them up for, I mean, they're not cheap, 60, 70 bucks. This one, unfortunately, is an actual Stetson, but it is their lower end Stetson hats anyways. So this is the only one I could find in my size, and really, it's a 7 3/4, and it's still too small. But I got a hat stretcher. I've used it on there, and I'm going to use it again once I put some steam to it to make it even bigger, because I got a pretty big nugget. The hat band is going to go away. The whole top of this is going to get reshaped, and then the brim will be kind of flattened out, and we're going to try to make it stay that way anyways. But anyways, I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so what I got here, this is a clothes steamer is what it is. It's just a little base on wheels and everything, and it's got a stand on it, and there's a little coat hanger piece that goes on there. You use it for steaming wrinkles out of your clothes. This is my wife's, and I've kind of commandeered it from her, and we're going to use that to steam this hat and kind of, well, we're going to change the shape of it for sure. And there's a couple things you need to know about some of these hats. Most of the time the liner is just glued in. It's not really sewn in, and usually there's just a couple spots of hot melt glue is what they put these in with, and this one was not in there very well at all. I've actually had them with a lot more glue in them to hold it in there. But like I said, it is a Stetson brand anyways, but like I said, it's one of their lower end ones anyways. So I'm not going to need that. I mean, you could put it back inside there once it's done, but we're going to get that out of the way for right now. And then this hat band that's on here is not going to go with the hat, so it's also going to be hot glued on there in just a couple spots. Don't try to just pull them off, because what you'll end up doing is taking little chunks out of the felt, and even though a new hat band is going to cover it up, a little bit of steam releases that glue and lets it go. I'm going to turn this thing on, let it get warmed up a little bit, and I also have a small iron. I'll show you that. Okay, so I got the steam going there. You can see a little bit of it blowing out there, and I've got my little iron. This is a little tiny small travel iron. It does have steam capability. It's got a little water compartment in there. You can put a little bit in there, and we'll probably use that too. But right now, I'm just gonna do the steaming of the hat, and I wanna get that hat band off of there first. So we're just gonna let a little bit of steam get soaked into there. And be careful, steam is hot, very hot. It's hotter than 212 degrees because that's what it takes. A little bit more. And we'll get the other side of it going. And there it is. It comes off. I did not damage anything. I got a little bit of dye coming out of there on my fingers, which is not good. I'm sure that's coming from the leather here, or the whatever that is. It shouldn't be coming from the hat. Now you can see there's a little bit of glue still left on there. That will come off with the steam. You just got to get it softened up a little bit. Like I said, don't try scraping it off, because it will damage the felt. Now you can see already it's kind of flattened the brim out a little bit, but we need to do a little bit more, and I got to get this cattleman's crease out of the top there. We get the steam rolling again. Now you do not have to have one of these steamers. You can use a tea kettle, pot of water on the stove. I've heard of people getting a big pot and turning the heat on and some water and setting the hat down in the top of it there and letting the steam do its thing. Now it's softened it up a little bit, and we can get that kind of popped out of there some. Now this doesn't really produce the kind of steam you need to do some quick hat manipulating or reshaping, but it will do it. It's just not a real large volume, which is okay. I'm working it slow, a little bit at a time. A little steam on the inside and the outside. Now it's softened it up some. It's still bumpy, so it'll take more steam and more shaping. And I like to do it all by hand, a little bit at a time, just to, you know, so I can control it some. All hats start off the same shape, this kind of big cone shape, and then as they felt it, the fibers of the wool or beaver wool, hair, whatever, will kind of curl up and bind together, and they shrink a little bit, and then they kind of pull together and get tighter and tighter. That's what makes the hat so hard like that. All right, I've got the brim pretty much flattened out there. I've got the top popped out there and rounded off. I don't have it super smooth yet because it doesn't really matter. I've got to make this a round, flat top and a telescoping top. This is where it starts getting a little tricky, and a lot of molding with your hands and your fingers and stuff and trying to get it just where it needs to be, because I don't have a hat block, and a hat block is a wooden form that goes inside there and helps get the shape that you're actually after. So this is going to be a little bit at a time, getting it where it needs to be, and hopefully getting the right shape to it. Now one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hat stretcher here and I'm going to collapse it all the way. Now I'm going to steam the top of it and push it down in there to kind of help form it some. All right, that gives me the start to getting the flat top on it there. Now, one of the things about taking that rounded dome top like that and making it flat is I've got extra material there. So now I've got to try to do the, what they call the telescoping top, or kind of a, well, like on the Man with No Name hat. I've got to create a crease all the way around there, and then that little dome can pop up in the top there some. And this is where you just need to take your time and a little bit at a time, do it all by hand. All right, it looks like I got one side a little higher than the other. It's not a problem, just work it around some and get it where it needs to be. Now I'm going to start to push that telescopic part, the dome part that's going to be on the top of my head there, up some. And try to keep that same crease going around there. This is how you got to handle all the extra material from the original shape. Now as this cools down and dries out, it will hold its shape pretty well, very well. And let's go ahead and try it on. And that's probably looking a little closer to the hat I was going for. Still going to take some fine tuning. All right, I'm going to shut the steam off because I think from now on it's, I don't know if you can see much of that. There's a little bit of an indent there, and I don't want that. I want the sides to be pretty straight. So what I'm going to do now is take my little small travel iron, get that thing heated up, and then we're going to roll this around on the edge of the table and try to get inside there and work that so we can get that little curve out of it. I'm pretty happy with the top shape of it right now. I think it'll be just fine like that, and then we'll have to work on a hat band for it. Okay, so I can't quite get this in there. There's a hat band inside there, the sweat band that's sewn in there, and I can't take that out. And it is not leather. Not sure what the material is it's made out of, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to try to shape this from the outside and take the iron and put it up against there and push outward. And you got to be careful too, because it'll kind of scorch or smooth it out a little bit, which I'm doing some right there anyways. Let's get a little steam going on there. There we go, there's some steam. Now I suspect that dent going in around there is probably from my thumb where I'm trying to pinch this top crease on there. Now the character in the movie was not the cleanest cut fella in the production, but so the hat, if it doesn't look perfect, I'm okay with that really. It looks like it's pretty flat there. Of course, his brim was not always perfectly flat. It kind of had a little flop to it every now and then. Next thing we got to do is make the hat band for this thing. And looking at all the pictures I found online, I think this is going to be the easiest hat band I ever done. I think. Let's try it. Okay, like I said, in the pictures I found online, it looks to me like it's going to be a pretty easy hat band to do. It's just some fabric. At least that's what it looks like to me. It looks like there's a nice smooth edge toward the bottom, and the top edge is a little bit rough, so this hopefully will be big enough to go all the way around it. Oh yeah, plenty of room there. So we're going to cut off a strip. Oh, it looks like it's about 1 inch wide maybe, and then after a little bit of fraying and stuff, it might be just perfect. So I'll get this laid out here and then get it trimmed up. That's going to be my hat band. Now it is tied in kind of a bow on the one side of it. Let's get the hat back over here. His hat band is a little, you know, distressed, tore up and all that good stuff, and this is brand new, so maybe I'll just kind of see if I can't get it to unravel a hair, get it wrinkled up some. And then his bow is on the left side of it. So let's see which way the hat is. That's the back. That'd be the left side there. And see what I can do with this. Trying to get that tucked down in there a little bit. And my pieces are too long there, but I've got scissors here, so we'll trim it up. And there it is. Like I said, it's nothing fancy. Maybe not quite exactly like it is in the movie, but I think it looks better than the other hat I had. Probably looks a little more like Charlie Prince's hat than this thing did. That's not even close. There it is. That's how you reshape a hat, and they all start out as the same shape, the big cone thing, and then I buy them as, you know, the cattleman's creases, and just shape them to the way I want them. I've done all of them, all the hats I've got like that. They were all identical when I bought them, and I made the Man with No Name hat. I made the Josie Wales hat. I made the Preacher's hat from Pale Rider, and now I've got the Charlie Prince hat from 310 to Yuma. Anyways, if you could, hit this button up here to subscribe if you haven't already, and then hit this button here to check out some of my other videos. And thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review.